You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
The Scrimmage After Dark.
Did you guys see the graphic I posted earlier?
Is it dark yet?
The Scrimmage After Dark. It sounds eerie
It does.
and ominous.
It sounds like we're going to have discussions about the cosmos.
You sound like the guy from
NPR guy
from Parks and Rec. You sound like the public radio guy from Parks and Rec.
I was just telling you guys how I randomly stumble into voices.
But like spot on though. Like if that's what you were going for, you freaking nailed it.
It was. You could either go that route or like, I'm George Norrie. The
Coast
guy who
to
does
coast.
Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, man. Are we going to get unhinged? Is that where our conversations are going to go tonight?
The Mariners are in first place!
That has to be a haunted cosmos, like, type of discussion, right? The Mariners are in first place. In August. This is not April. And
It's not a drill!
the last time I said, the Mariners are in first place, it was after the first game of the season.
Yeah.
I'm used to doing that after Felix Day, opening day. The Mariners are in first place.
I think I saw a graphic that said this is the first time the Mariners have been in sole possession of first place since 2003 in August.
I think that
In
was
August.
after the specific. It's after the.
Andrew, it's really weird that you don't have a microphone. I love that you're just yelling.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can people hear you? I mean, maybe this is the solution for Andrew. He just needs to have no mic and just scream at us.
When we were doing our fantasy draft on the video
Yeah.
call earlier, I had my son in the room with me because he's drafting a team, I'm drafting a team.
Right.
And I said something at one point, and then Andrew laughed.
Right.
And my son Mac just laughed. And I was like, why are you laughing? And he's like, just Andrew's laugh. Gets me every time.
Is there really no way to get you on a mic? I was just thinking, like, Justin and I are both on headsets, but I think they both have XLR connections, not... Oh, you know what? I bet I have a headset that has that connection in my bag. Andrew's efforting.
Andrew's efforting. Hopefully you'll get to hear his voice later.
Oh, by the way, this is a sports show.
Yeah.
Sorry. My wife always is like, you really need to stay on topic just a little bit
Well,
more.
you started talking about demons right away. So I've realized that it's my thing now since you mentioned Haunted Cosmos.
I did.
When I watch videos on TikTok, everything that's eerie, I go in and comment.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, that's a demon.
Every time?
Those comments get a lot of likes. People want to accuse everything of being a demon.
I'm just going to start commenting that on the things that are on my Instagram feed, which have like... It's going to be like, no, I can't hear you.
See what happens.
It's going to be like a random reel of like a cool spot to hike in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm going to be like,
That's a demon.
That's a demon.
That's a demon. Yeah. Aliens, demons. Sasquatch, demon.
Yeah.
Sea dragons, demons.
Dude, don't get me going on sea dragons. I listened to that episode of that one podcast you sent me, and now that's like all I want to talk about.
Well, we do have a lot of stuff to talk about.
We have
today.
sports to talk about.
We'll get some Mariners in there.
Wait,
and
some Mariners? How are we not talking only Mariners?
we're going to talk about the Ners.
Dude, don't make it.
We're going to
When
talk
you said that earlier, I was like, why is Justin talking about the Niners?
like the 49ers?
Yes,
No, I wasn't.
I know. Because
We're
they're
gonna
not in
talk-
first place.
We're going to talk about the Mariners.
The nerds.
There we go.
We will touch on Blazers stuff.
It's not Sano, and it's not the Nerds.
Seahawks stuff. But most importantly, we got lots of cool local sports stuff to talk about, which we're super pumped about.
Woo!
But first, let's get it going with the 2-minute
Drill. Sorry.
Let's go, huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation. 44 seconds, hand the ball around. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
The Seattle Ners hit 7 dingers on Saturday in a 15-2 win over the Royals. The offense is clicking, averaging 7.4 runs over the last 13 games. Daniel, with Jared Kelenick's potential return from injury just around the corner, will the outfielder have a place in the lineup?
Will the outfield has gotten a little crowded with Canzone coming over with
Is Rojas
Teoscar
an
hitting.
outfielder?
No, Rojas is a infielder. He's a second baseman, third
He's been
baseman.
hitting dingers.
He has been hitting dingers. That's awesome. And he's a great interview. If you get a chance to listen to his interview, listen to that. It was really good.
Every time I see his name, I think, Danny Rojas.
He does have a spot in the lineup.
Football is life.
Football is life. I need to finish that show. Anyway, he does have a spot in the lineup because Mike Ford is no longer Mike Ruth Ford. So Teo will probably get a lot more time as a DH, and Kelnick and Canzone will rule the corner outfield. And also, your little notes here said when Kelnick got hut. M's
supposed
had
to say
lost 4
hurt.
of the last 6. They're now 27-8 since Kelnick went down. On July 19th, the M's were 10 back of Texas. That's just the emotional boost they needed, was his heartfelt interview.
Okay.
A 25-year-old undrafted rookie wide receiver from UCLA named Bobo. Jake Bobo is projected to make the Seattle Seahawks 53-man roster. Bobo caught 7 passes for 125 yards and 2 touchdowners.
I was supposed to say tutties.
Yeah, no, didn't like it. In 3 preseason games. Justin, can you say Bobo making an impact this season?
I think once D. Eskridge returns from suspension and once Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back from whatever little tiny injury he has going on, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Bobo. Also, Bobo ran a 4.99 40 at his pro day, which means that my 17-year-old son who plays for the Montesano Bulldogs could smoke him in a race. So no, I'm not really anticipating much Jake Bobo once the regular season gets going.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to if you didn't.
The Mountain West and AAC are interested in adding Washington State and Oregon State to their conferences, but a recent article from the San Francisco Chronicle reported that the schools could end up in the Big 12 if Stanford and Cal end up there. Daniel, which of these scenarios seems most likely to you?
I really want the Big 12 situation, but I'm not sure if I can trust anything the San Francisco Chronicle puts out there because
Fair point.
I'm just assuming that they are in an altered state of mind. But I'm hoping the Big 12 after dark. Nearly 2 months have passed since Damian Lillard's July 1st trade request from the Portland Trailblazers, and things have only gotten weirder. Lillard wants to go to Miami, and that's the only place he wants to go. But the teams seem to have hit a wall in negotiations. Justin, will this situation be resolved before the season tips off on October 25th?
We're still about a month away from training camp even opening, and that tends to be when a lot of these types of things really start to gain momentum. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next week or two we start to hear that the teams have started discussing negotiations again, but until we get close to training camp, neither of them are going to be motivated to do anything because... Is that too much NBA talk?
Sorry, I was actually anticipating you were done with anything.
No, that's cool. There's actually essentially nothing has happened in the Damian Lillard conversation, so it's actually a good point to buzz it. It becomes weird that nothing has happened and Dame's not saying anything, because often when big stars are demanding a trade or requesting a trade or whatever, they make a big stink and they make things difficult, and it's just not in Dame's personality to do so. The problem...
He made as big of a stink as he's going to, and in NBA culture, it was like the equivalent of, hey, I'd like to be traded.
Yeah. I also think that...
I mean, he could go James Harden and just start eating cheeseburgers every day, but I don't see that happening.
If Dame really wanted to go wherever he wanted, he did not have to sign the massive extension that he signed last year.
Yeah.
He could be a free agent. So, I get it. In a way, I really sympathize with Dame's scenario.
Yeah.
He wants to go somewhere to be competitive. The Blazers, with Scoot Henderson and with Sharp, Shaden Sharp. I always want to call him Dayron Sharp because that was a guy that played for the Tar Heels. So Shaden Sharp, they've got guards that they want to get experience now. So legitimately, if they roll into the season with Damian Lillard on the roster, it's also going to be hindering what the Blazers want to do. Right. So they should be motivated to make this happen. The Heat should be motivated because their championship window is closing.
Yep.
everyone should be motivated, yet nothing is happening.
Yeah.
But if Dame wanted to be gone, he didn't have to sign that extension. And now he has lost some leverage because he really could be traded anywhere. He has no trade clause, and he's under contract for 4 more years.
Yeah.
So he could be traded somewhere, and if he doesn't play, he's just going to lose out on like $160 million.
Lots of millions.
So the Blazers are in the position of power, and I think that's what people are missing.
Yeah.
Like definitely what Miami Heat fans are missing when they say, why won't the Blazers just trade Dame to Miami already?
Just trade him. We'll give him 2 bags of Fritos.
The team is in a position of power.
Yeah.
The Blazers are.
Yes.
Because they have Dame under contract for several years.
Yep.
So wherever they send him, he has to go or not get paid.
Yeah. Could you imagine? So I get that he doesn't want to be a part of another rebuild.
Yeah.
But people are starting to talk about Scoot like he might actually be the best player in that draft. And that's a draft that has
Wembanyama.
that guy.
Yeah.
And yet people are still like, is Scoot actually better than this guy?
Yeah, that conversation came up before the draft, too.
So give him 2 years if they say for some reason Dame doesn't get traded.
Yeah.
And Scoot and Dame play well together like McCollum and Dame did. And you also have Shaedon Sharp. Mm-hmm. What if they go to the playoffs this year and Dame goes, huh? And then next year you have a second-year guy in Scoot who's awesome. And they go farther. And then third and fourth year, Dame's that dude who just nails 3-pointers. I mean, there's a version of this, of Dame staying, that works out for Dame. It's not likely.
It's not likely because...
I want to hope because I really like him.
Scoot's not a shooter. So the idea of having another player that can't play off ball, you got like a Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving thing going on.
Could it work with me here?
Yeah.
I know Dame's better off the dribble.
Yep.
But what if Dame became the off-ball scorer?
100% he could. 100%.
Right?
There's nothing nothing shooting-wise that you could ever convince me that Dame can't do.
Exactly. Could you imagine a drive and dish, and the guy you're dishing to has the ability to shoot it from what my brother and I used to call AA range, because that's what we used to name our created players, because to give them names took too long. Yeah. So they were like, created player. What do you want his name to be? A. What do you want his last name to be? A. And he would shoot from half court.
That's funny because I used to name my created players things like Fart Butt.
Good call.
Or Dick Butt Kiss.
I named mine either AA, and then I started naming him Daniel Hargrove, except for Daniel Hargrove was a 7-foot white guy who could knock down triples like nothing.
100%.
But
that was also what Jay Poncho Man did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a drive and dish to the guy who you're dishing to could shoot from half court? How do you cover that?
You don't.
You don't.
No.
And then you got Shaedon Sharp coming in and dunking on everybody. And you've got Yusuf, who as long as he doesn't snap his leg.
Yusuf hasn't showed up for anything off-season wise.
He's just waiting for Dame.
Okay.
Yusuf.
He's basically gone.
Yusuf lives on Dame time. He doesn't live in Yugoslavian time or wherever he's from. Serbian. Bosnian. There it is. Yeah. Bosnian Beast. Thank you. He doesn't live on Bosnian time. He doesn't live on Pacific time. He lives on Dame time.
Yeah.
That's the only place he lives. So he's not going to show up for anything until Dame decides what he's going to do.
Fair.
I mean, that's a fun team.
But it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
No, because Dame's not going to come back and play. Not because.
Do you think if the trade doesn't get done that he'll just sit out?
I do not believe that. I believe the trade will get done.
Okay,
or
exactly. So can we stop talking about this? Because not only do we have good, like, I like the discussion. It helps me learn more about what's going on about a team I care about. But we also have the team I care the most about.
Yeah,
the Seattle Mariners,
the Nerds.
Who I care. I'm gonna say it. I care more about the Nerds. Dang it!
Don't. This is RSBI all over again. I'm going to wear you down until you say everything the way I want you to.
Stop it.
No fan is so proud.
Congratulations to me.
Stop it. No, Precious. No.
Go Nerds.
The Mariners, the M's.
The Mariners?
The Mariners are my first love. They are my biggest love.
More than
as
the
much
Beavers.
as much as I love the Beavers, as much as I love
Daniel
Benny here.
loves the Beavers.
Is that showing up, Andrew?
Yep.
Benny Beaver, especially this logo. There it is.
These cups are so great.
They're awesome. These are the. I'm
I have
so glad I
Ramses.
refound
Can
this
people
one.
see this one?
Yep.
Anyway.
Andrew's just the best, and I'm assuming Hannah was involved.
I'm pretty
in
sure
that.
Johanna made it.
Hannah did those.
Yeah, Hannah made these. Andrew
I
didn't
told
make
her
these.
what to make. She made it.
He commanded her to make them, and she did.
No, that's not right.
By little.
I take it back. I got a look that I
Hey,
I officially take.
Andrew's
it back.
got the replay of the Seahawks game, by the way, and I just watched a Bobo touchdown. 19 is a good number for a guy named Bobo.
Dude, Bobo toasted that DB.
Dude,
How? He ran a 4.9940.
this is
Game
the.
speed.
This is just a post route.
Oh
it
no,
just-
that's not the. It was a fade that I saw.
Oh. No,
So it
this
must
is
be-
not a fade. This
Because
is
he
a-
scored 2 touchdowns, so that must be the other one.
So it's not a fade. It's going to the corner, so it's not a post.
Oh, a flag?
But it's now you're going old school on us. Yes, this was a flag route, but from the other side of
Is
the
that
field.
old school? Is flag an old school route?
Yeah, if you were playing football with my dad or Andrew's dad growing up,
God.
they would call it a flag route,
Oh boy,
and they would also call it a flanker.
people don't call that.
You're gonna play flanker and run a flag route.
Flanker is a Z.
Yeah. Ian might get upset.
That was a
with me
little
for that one.
inside baseball.
So because we have Andrew, you copied it, and now I don't see Francis's comment
It's
anymore.
down at the
Did you
bottom. I put it in mailbag.
mail? Okay, so we're gonna wait for mailbag.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Francis, we got comments from you. I was going to read it, but our producer said we're going to wait for mailbag just so that we have a viewer for the entire show. So now you have to stick around and watch that. I might also talk about the helpful advice you gave me about when I decided to throw flat things at chains the other day in a park.
That never happened.
It might have happened. I'm not saying it was good, but it happened. Your question about the Mariners. We're going to talk about Mariners a little bit more
We
later.
do have a Mariners segment, but if it's related to 2-minute drill, we could tackle it now.
Then let's jump to Bobo because we don't have. Do we have much of a Seahawks?
no
segment?
Seahawks. segment,
Okay.
No.
Bobo runs a 4.9940.
Yeah.
That's like slower than me.
I'm-
Like
I was so ready for you to tell me that that you could beat Bobo in a race. And you know what? I'm on
Glory
board.
days.
I'm on board. You can beat Bobo in a race.
okay, I'm gonna rephrase that though. Right now, I can't beat Bobo in a race. There it is. But a fairly old injured me who played for the Bearcats ran like a 4.840. Bobo's not fast.
Sprint speed
No.
overrated.
No.
Sprint
no.
speed is
No,
overrated.
I will not accept a 4.840 from you.
This was an older. This was like Justin. This was like 4th year Bearcat. So I'd had.
Okay.
I ended every year in crutches.
So let's imagine Daniel, 23-year-old Daniel, fresh out of college.
I was pretty fast.
Daniel's running a better than
Figure
4.840.
out
Yes.
What your 100
Okay.
time at tryouts.
You mean my 60 time?
Your 60 time translates to.
Oh man, I ran a 6.7 flat 60 or a 6.69.
Nobody knows what that means.
Exactly. 60s are baseball's weird, so they run 60-yard dashes.
60 yards?
Yeah, because it's second to home
Oh,
is
okay.
what they're measuring.
Okay.
Except for you run it straight because baseball's dumb and they can't figure out, oh, maybe we should measure the actual amount of distance
That's
from
60
second to
yard?
home. 60-yard dash. And I ran like
I
a
just
6.
love that Andrew's just yelling at
It was a 6. No, Andrew's just screaming.
Poor
It's a
Andrew.
4.46.
Okay. So I ran about a 4.46 pace.
Faster than Peyton.
I'm actually pretty excited about that. It was handheld, but so was Peyton's.
Agreed.
The first year, I got to say, the first year was their fault because the first year I tried out for
If
Wazoo.
Peyton's listening right now, he wants to race you so
Gosh,
bad.
dude, I would blow an Achilles so hard. My so-called healthy Achilles hurts after everything athletic I do. And when I say everything, I mean like I jumped up a step today. My Achilles hurts. But the first year I ran, I was like a 6'9". I was like, how am I 6'9"? It was because when they did that year, they had 2 of us running at the same time. And you're like, oh, usually it helps to run with somebody, you know? But the person I ran against was super slow. And the second point is that they ran when they said go. Not on my movement.
Oh.
Right. And everybody knows when you're timing 40s, it's on your first move.
Yeah.
And so they said go. We both heard it. And then we started running. Dude, that's at least 0.3 of a second.
Yeah.
So I was really excited when.
If not 4.
Yeah. Now, my brother had the same thing. And he ran, I think, a 6.75 with somebody saying go.
And for perspective,
It's pretty freaking fast.
if you're wondering how fast Daniel's brother is, we played in this flag football league way back in the day when we were all in our physical prime.
Yes.
And
Well, I was a little young, but
I was in my physical prime. And Daniel, your brother once told me when there was a new guy that came into the league,
Yeah.
he was like, that guy's really fast. He might be as fast as me. There was, like, in his mind, there was no question that in this entire flag football league there
Yeah.
was someone faster than
Right.
him until Failer came in.
really?
Failer, I'm forgetting the first name. But there was a Failer
Okay.
that came into the league, and he was like,
Ooh, that guy's fast.
that guy might be as fast as me.
Whoa.
But up to that point, he never had a doubt that anyone was as fast as him.
Gotcha. That's crazy.
Also, Jimmy Hargrove,
And yet-
by the way, the only person I've ever witnessed in a softball game, a slow pitch softball game, jump over the catcher
Yeah.
and score after an infield fly, sacrifice fly.
Yep.
Pop up to the shortstop. Pop up to the shortstop. I was coaching third base.
Dude.
And Jimmy was like, I'm going to go. And I was like,
No.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
He did it. The ball beat him there by a mile. He jumped over the catcher, managed to get his toe out behind him because he overshot the plate.
Like
managed
you
to get
would.
his toe out behind him and tapped the plate with his toe and scored. And everyone went nuts.
That was the other stupid thing. Gosh, I know this is a stupid glory days because we're not even talking about one of us.
Are we doing a show?
His foot control, like, you know how you talk about, like, your awareness on
Yeah.
sidelines and stuff?
Yeah.
He also had that, and he never played football.
Yeah.
And yet, on the baseball field,
Well, we played a lot of football.
gosh, man,
He just never played tackle
that
football.
was stupid. He
We
was
played
stupid.
back
You know
in
what?
the day. Jimmy and I, we played football every
Yeah.
Saturday.
Why do you think that I was actually a good player when I played for the Bearcats after never playing football?
Because you were
because
fast
I
and
constantly
athletic?
yeah, but I also constantly oh come on, you've played with fast and athletic dudes who are not good football players.
Okay.
But it was because I constantly played with you guys and got my brains beat in by dudes 7 years younger than me.
I don't know what that means.
Older than you.
Yeah. What did I say?
7 years younger.
Whoops. 7 years older than me.
Listen, here.
I
you know
gotta
what,
say though, Jimmy and
Daniel?
I are no matter how fast you are, I think Jimmy and I are the only people athletically arrogant enough to try and tag and score on a pop up to anything near the infield.
It's the only time I've ever seen it.
Yeah. We are also of the rare breed of moron that goes, I'm on second, pop up to the outfield. I can score on this.
We call that Hargroving.
But we did both score.
So let's move on
Sorry.
to.
I'm sorry.
You know-
Jake Bobo, what I wanted to point out with this.
We were still talking
This was
about Jake Bobo?
this was the Jake Bobo conversation. Gosh, I'm terrible. Yes. Would you stop baiting me into these situations?
It's my fault.
You
somehow.
mentioned D. Eskridge.
Yeah.
That dude's not doing anything for the Seahawks anymore.
Okay.
I mean, come on. That guy was less than productive in any facet or form, and now he's got a suspension for
You're
what's-
hoping that because you reached so hard for Smith and Jigba in our fantasy draft.
Also got
Dude.
legal problems.
That's what I'm saying. He's got legal problems, and that's what the suspension's about. Like, and he wasn't productive at all when he was available,
We got
and then he was
concussed,
injured.
like, immediately.
Yeah. Like, forget about D. Eskridge.
Okay.
All of
Forgotten.
the excitement about Geno Smith talking about D. Eskridge, that's all gone.
Let's make a deal.
It is only Bobo.
You call
It
them-
is only Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Tyler Lockett.
What, you're going to keep 5 receivers, right?
Probably.
DK, Tyler, JSN. I'm so glad that I heard somebody use that acronym the other day because now I can stop saying Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN. And then you got Bobo. And then it's a competition for the 5th receiver
What's
spot.
the guy from Hawaii that you really liked?
Gosh.
What's his name?
That dude would have been great.
so good.
John
Ursua.
Ursua. He was going to be Doug Baldwin.
I'll make you a deal.
Never got a shot.
I'll make you a deal. I'll forget that Eskridge exists
Okay.
if you commit to calling them the Ners from now on.
No.
And then we'll just be like, Eskridge is not a thing.
Yeah.
You call them the Ners.
No, I've already, you mentioned it, I have already succumbed to RSBI.
Okay, yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
will make that argument.
You were defending
I
it
was.
in our group chat. So RSBI. Okay,
I was
we're gonna
defending
do
it.
another quick sidetrack.
Uh-oh. Our sidetracks are never quick.
RSBI runs batted in, not run batted ins. So it's not RBIs. It's RSBI.
It's RSBI.
I started saying that a couple years ago just to be obnoxious.
Yes.
Like no other reason but just obnoxiousness.
And then it made too much sense.
You hated it at first.
Hate it.
And eventually I wore you down to the point where you do it. And then it happened in our fantasy baseball group chat the other day.
Yeah,
You said RSBI.
Yep.
And other people were like, no, you're stupid. Don't say that. You defended it. I didn't say anything.
Well, especially
I like
since
that
they...
It's more technically correct.
Thank you, Andrew.
Andrew said, I like that it's more technically correct. I gotta say that I'm with him on that one. And when somebody started throwing out the AP style book, I was like, oh, here we go. As somebody who knows the AP style book, they're dumb. And they literally only care about succumbing to an old media in paper and how long things last. And they're like, the Oxford comma doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, it does. You're an idiot. And now we're a grammar show. What is going on?
I feel like I won. I feel like I just won what happened there.
After Dark,
The scrimmage after dark.
where we talk about glory days.
Oxford commas. Next, we're going to talk about splitting infinitives and dangling prepositions.
To boldly go. No! Stop it! Stop it!
Go boldly. Let's move on to what's my favorite part of the show.
Oh no.
Bobo.
More Bobo, please.
Andrew's had a big workload
Serving
today.
questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stop Daniel.
Daniel.
I'm just gonna throw weird voices because it's after dark, and we already threw out that weird things happen after dark. Like we're on an episode of Coast to Coast.
Led to the disintegration of the Pac-12.
Oh, Pac-12 after dark led to the disintegration of the Pac-12.
Oh
Settle
no.
down.
Okay,
We don't want to disintegrate.
we need to chill.
What if we disintegrate?
Well,
What would that look like?
This edition of Stump Daniel is brought to you by
Look like Atlantis in the Sahara Desert?
Justin and Daniel would go to the Pac-10.
Justin, this is your fault. I hope you know this.
Stump Daniel is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, hopefully continuously still after this. Daniel, I've got some NERS-related questions for you.
I like Mariners-related questions.
Go NERS.
Go M's. They already have an abbreviation. Stop it. It's
Julio
not,
Rodriguez.
It's Monty. It's not Sano, and it's M's.
Julio.
Sano should be a thing.
Stop it.
Julio Rodriguez is the quickest Mariner to 50 home runs.
Next, you're going to be calling it like Quium or
He
Hope.
needed just 256 games to get to 50 home runs. Daniel, who are the two players that he was better than? The next two players that he was better than at getting to 50 home runs as a Mariner.
I hope it's the two players that I'm thinking of, because when I heard this stat, Andrew had very limited cell reception on our camping trip, and I had none.
Okay.
So every now and then Andrew would go, "Hey, this notification came through." And one of them was Julio becomes fastest to 50 home runs. And I went, wow. In an organization that has Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
So I'm going to say Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez.
Daniel, you are correct.
Boom!
Alex Rodriguez.
That's like a 4 RSBI night right there.
Good job, Daniel.
Just
Let's see
knocking
if you can
him
get to
in.
a 6 RSBI night after this. A-Rod took 269 games, so 13 better.
he did.
13 better, or 13 worse, sorry, than Julio. Ken Griffey Jr. actually needed 377 games. That was the next closest.
Gosh, get it together, Junior.
Seriously,
Apparently,
Junior.
that's what happens when you play with your dad. It just kind of stunts your growth a little bit.
Question number 2, Daniel.
He grounds you after stealing a pop-up from him.
Well, no, Junior's growth was stunted.
Stunted. Stunted, I tell you.
Question number 2, Daniel. The Big Dumper
Dopes!
is the first Mariners catcher
Also,
to have 2 home runs and 6 RBI in a game.
runs batted in.
Yeah.
Not run batted ins.
He has 5 multi-homer games this season,
I hate that you did that to me.
and that's the 3rd best in team history.
I feel like RBIs is some stupid old baseball writer's thing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Daniel, who are the 2 Mariners who have had more than 5 multi-homer games in a season?
Only 2?
There's only 2. Wow. This is
By the way, I think Cal Raleigh might be my son's favorite player because
Heck yes!
besides hitting, the only thing that he kind of does a pitcher's windup, but the only position he mimics is he squats down and he'll either put his helmet or his hat over his face, or literally he'll go like this.
we're picturing a preschooler doing this.
Yeah, a 2-year-old.
Yeah,
A 2-year-old.
Not a preschool.
And not like a
he's
2.5-year-old.
He's older than a toddler.
He's a toddler.
He's a gifted toddler. Athletically.
He doesn't toddle though.
No, that's the thing.
He walks very
He's
confidently.
He's 25 months old. Like he's not 2.5.
Yeah.
But he will squat down and he will mime putting a mask on his face. Like he'll just run his hand over his face and then he'll stick his hands out. And I'm like,
Okay.
apparently my son wants to be a catcher.
The same way that in the early 2000s, kids everywhere were pulling their sleeve back when they were pretending to get set up at the plate like
Exactly.
Ichiro.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my
Daniel,
gosh, does Julio do a little kind of? Remember how Kyle Seager used to like lean back and do like a hip thrust? Does Julio do like a little bounce of his knees? Like
A knee bounce.
Like
Bounce.
does he set up and kind of go?
We can't have 2 people off mic.
Sorry. Anyway, every time my son goes to hit, he'll like touch the plate and then he'll do like a little knee bounce. And I haven't figured out if he's emulating anybody specific yet.
Craig Biggio. Daniel, in the history of the Mariners, who are the 2 players who have had more than 5 multi-homer games in a season?
Ken Griffey Jr.,
Okay.
Alex Rodriguez.
You are correct again. Boom! Same answer. A-Rod did it once. This will make you happy.
Okay.
Junior did it 3 times.
That does make me 3 times. I was going to say I should get like 3 dings for that last one.
I got you.
Yep.
Daniel, the Mariners hit 7 dingers on Saturday, which tied the franchise mark for most home runs in a game. It's happened 4 other times. In 2002, in 1999,
Okay.
in 1996, and in 1985.
85? The
When
85 is the one that I'm surprised about.
When I heard this stat, I did some research. I looked up the box scores from those games.
I'm glad
and
you did.
I figured out who hit those home runs.
I'm glad you did because like I said, the 2002 makes sense. The 99 makes sense. The 90, what'd you say, 95?
96.
96, that makes sense.
Yep.
The 85 does not make sense.
What I'm going to ask you to do
Okay.
is for each of these 4 different times that the Mariners have hit 7 home runs, besides this past Saturday,
Okay.
give me 1 player who you think hit the most home runs in that game. I will add up the totals. Your maximum possible is 11. In 2002, Daniel,
Okay.
this was May 2nd, 2002. The Mariners hit 7 home runs. Which player hit the most home runs in that game?
I'm thinking it's between 3 players.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the 3 players I'm thinking. No, 4 players.
Okay, hit me with it.
So, old guard, I'm thinking Edgar.
Okay.
I'm thinking John Olerud.
Okay.
Mike Cameron used to hit dingers, close his eyes and swing.
Okay.
Brett Boone was also a dinger hitter.
Okay. A ditter.
He was a ditter. I'm going to say in a game where they're hitting lots of taters,
Yeah.
I feel like one of those like close your eyes and swing dudes. So I'm thinking Brett Boone. But it was Mike Cameron. I could tell by your reaction, wasn't it?
Brett Boone actually hit 2 home runs in that game.
But he didn't hit the most because Mike Cameron hit 3.
Forgot about the 4 home run Mike Cameron game.
I thought that was in 2001.
It was in 2002. Mike Cameron hit 4 home runs, and actually, I think
he flew out.
Did Cameron and Boone go back-to-back twice in that game?
Yeah, I think they went. They did not only go back-to-back twice in that game, Justin. They became one of the few, if not only, teammates to go back-to-back in the same inning. They went back-to-back in the same inning against the Chicago White Sox.
So you got 2 points.
I remember who that game was against. And Mike Cameron, on his 5th at-bat, hit one to the warning track.
Yes, he did. I recall I was watching. Yep, that happened. Okay, Daniel.
Yeah, needed more roids.
Needed more roids. Maybe a little HGH. Daniel, you got 2 points there. So good points, but not max points.
Okay.
1999. This was on July 5th, 1999.
Okay.
Give me a player who hit home runs in that game.
Who hit home runs or the most home runs?
Well, whoever hit the most, but you get points for whatever you choose.
I'm going to go with Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr. hit 1 home run in that game.
Dang it, A-Rod.
A-Rod hit 2. Edgar hit 2. Muy caliente. Edgar Martinez, 2 home runs. A-Rod hit 2. Junior hit 1. John Mabry hit 1. And Russ Davis hit 1.
Russ Davis. There's a name I haven't heard for a while. Good old Russ. The 6'4", 5" catcher who everybody thought was going to be amazing and then just kind of didn't.
July 31st, 1996, Daniel.
Okay.
Who hit the most home runs for the Mariners that day?
That's got to be Junior, but it could also dark horse be Buhner or Edgar. But if you don't guess Junior, then what are you doing? Because it could also be, I mean, that's A-Rod's like real rookie season, which was pretty legit. But if you're not guessing Ken Griffey Jr., what are you doing?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes.
hit 2 home runs that day.
Did somebody hit 3?
As did A-Rod. And Bone.
Nice.
Jay Buhner, Ken Griffey Jr., and A-Rod each hit 2 home runs that game.
Who hit
The
the
7th home run was hit by Brian Hunter, who I don't know.
I don't remember him at all.
0.
Brian
So you got
Hunter?
2 points there, so you are at 5 out of a possible something.
Brian Hunter, your hardware dealer of the Northwest.
The last one, Daniel. April 11th, 1985, before all of us were born.
I thought you were older than you are. I'm glad that I'm wrong.
I was born in 1985, but after April 11th.
Okay,
So-
there we go. There we go. I'm going to go
Still
Alvin.
before I was born, it still counts.
I'm going to go Alvin Davis because I literally don't know like any other players who played before 1992.
Ooh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Andrew, give me a wah-wah. Everyone knows that the great Gorman Thomas hit 3 home runs that day. How did you not know that Gorman Thomas hit 3 home runs that day?
I didn't know Gorman was a name.
Jim Presley also hit 1, as did Phil Bradley, and Al Cohen's. How did you not get any of those? And the final one was hit by the only guy on this list I know, Dave Henderson.
Oh, hey, Dave Henderson. Gorman. Who names their kid Gorman?
No, Gorman-
That's like you want your kid to be nerdier than someone named Norman. Like, hey, I'm Norman. And you're like, wow, dude, I'm sorry. And then somebody else comes up and they're like, well,
No.
I actually like Star Trek more, and my name's Gorman.
No, you went nerdy. I'm thinking they wanted to have a smart kid. And they were like, you know what? Our neighbor's kid is named Norman, and he's a genius. What's nerdier than that? We'll name our kid Gorman.
Gorman. Except it's spelled with the Z, and it's a silent one.
No, that's not until... No, that happened. That crap started happening in, like, mid-2000.
You're right. Good call. Good call.
Yeah. Well, that will conclude Stump Daniel. You ended up in, I don't know, the Coug Zone.
I feel like I had 7 RSBI.
You had 7 RSBI. Good
Yeah.
job. Good
Yeah.
job. So better than the Big Dumper.
Yeah.
I bet you could beat the Big Dumper in a 40-yard dash.
In a 40, yes.
Right now?
I
In a
don't
40-yard dump.
Shut up, Andrew. When he gets going pretty good, though.
You had a look of like legitimate insulted on your face.
I was a little upset. Well,
His name's Big Dump.
it's not just that I'm old, but I'm still claiming that I'm coming off in an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
Shut up. Don't mention how long it was.
I wasn't going to say anything.
You had a look, sir.
I always have a look.
Dude.
If you're looking for a mischievous look, it's on my face 24/7.
Scrimmage after dark is a mess, and because it's a mess, I'm going to give no warning to Andrew when I say we're on a commercial break. You had to make the
You have a
sound because
legal
you got no mic.
situation and need someone on your side, let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
You know, if that last name was just 12 more syllables long, Justin might be back in time. But you know what? I keep saying this. We need more commercials because it's just not enough of a break. So thank you again to our sponsor, the Law Office of Jeffrey. The Law Office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz. No relation. What's the A stand for? We are efforting more sponsors, by the way, and I'm really excited about it. Hopefully we'll have an announcement for you next week, which would also be perfect timing since next week, guess what? High school football officially gets underway.
We're not going to care because of the Ners.
You know what? We might not care as much because of the Mariners.
The Ners.
No! Stop it. You saw what happened when you tried to make Sano a thing. Stop trying to make Ners a thing. Also,
I did not try
Pax,
to make Sano a thing.
Pax is literally trying to lick you in the face right now.
That's my guy right here.
Yeah. You know, the problem is he knows that too.
What do you mean?
I mean that he only has eyes for you.
Do you guys realize that if Pax wasn't here, I would have quit the show like 2 years ago?
That checks out. I mean, to be honest, I'm not pulling my weight. So I'm glad Pax keeps you going.
I need an excuse to come to Andrew's house once a week. And it's cool to see Hannah, but also like Pax is here. So I mean, cucumbers.
Dude, I even drive. You know the main reason why I drive is because I'm like, man, Justin's going to get ticked off at me because he does all the work.
You know I love you though. So
But that's why I drive. Because I'm like, well, I guess I'll at least pay for the gas to get out here.
I didn't read the show sheet, but I'll drive.
Because Andrew lives out in the middle of nowhere.
in the woods. He lives in the woods and he loves in the woods.
That's where Merriam Knight gets their players.
So let's go into our Ners segment. We got some Mariners talk about talking.
Yes, we do.
You know, the thing from this is from 2 Minute Drill, but I want to bring it back because I'm curious if either of you, and Andrew, maybe I'll give you my mic when we do this. I'm curious if either
Maybe move.
Are you laughing about me giving you my mic?
Francis says a gifted toddler is a godler.
I like it. Andrew, I think because this is specific Ners talk, when I'm going to pass my mic off to you while we do this because
Or just put it in the middle of you guys. You're sitting right next to each other.
I want to
lean in.
if we like try to share this mic, we'll be almost kissing.
And Justin doesn't like icky
Andrew
things.
just put his Andrew on my leg.
You mean Andrew's hand?
Andrew's Handrew.
I don't. Stop it. After dark.
This gets weird after dark.
It's so weird.
I want to know if you guys think there's anything to the fact that when Jared Kelenic, this could be absolute coincidence. Jared Kelenic goes nuts.
Yep.
Kicks a cooler or whatever, breaks something in his body, goes out on July 19th. The Mariners were a game under 500. They're 27-8 since then. They were 10 games back of the Rangers. They are now in sole possession of first place in the American League. I want to know if you guys think, is that a coincidence that Jared Kelenic went out and they started playing better? Or Do you think there's something to either the fact that JK's not in the lineup, or did he give them the emotional boost they needed?
So, before Andrew, I'll give it to you really quick. My line of the union, I will say, like my official line has been Jared Kelnick provided the emotional boost with his very emotional press conference talking about
Winker style.
Jesse Winker. Oh, don't bring no. Sorry. Oh, gross. Oh. Anyway,
I don't hate Jesse. I do think he didn't fit in the clubhouse.
Right.
And I appreciated his contributions.
He started a fight that we all needed him to start.
Yeah.
He started
He
the
really
fight
did.
that we needed him to start. So for that reason alone, we should appreciate Jesse Winker. Jared Kelnick, I've been saying he gave the emotional boost that we needed of somebody who cared so darn much that he started crying. But also, I'm worried, Andrew, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this whole situation, but I'm worried that what we saw in the first half of the season was when Julio's hot, Jared's not. When Jared's hot, Julio's not. That there's some stupid curse that says Jared Kelnick and Julio can't be good at the same time. And I'm worried about that, and I don't like it.
I'm going to start this off by admitting that I am a little stitious, and I am also worried. Yeah. However, I'm going to speak reason here.
Good.
It wasn't
'cause I need it.
It wasn't just Jared breaking his leg.
What else happened?
Also, the Mariners, literally, the Mariners in Safeco Field getting booed.
Ooh, good call.
That happened that same, like, I'm not sure exactly about the sequence of events, but it was like this week and a half where, like, the Mariners got booed. The Pacific Northwest fans are not booers.
No, they're
We're
not.
We're not Eagles fans. We're not Yankees fans.
Right.
It got so bad that the Mariners were literally booed at home at the end of the game.
Wow.
Also, Kelnick broke his foot.
Yep.
And was incredibly emotional about it, which was kind like for me.
Yeah.
It was so like relatable. Like I was like, yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could handle that.
Right.
Like that sucks so hard. And then they took off on this huge run. I don't think it was any one of those things. I do think that rationally we can look at it and say that they reached a low point. Kelnick was reacting to that low point. They also made what, in retrospect, in the moment, we were like, what are they even doing? They're trading their best, like they're trading their guy, like we're hoping it works out kind of thing.
I could understand it, but I was definitely of the this better work out because the last time you tried to do this, I was upset.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't know which, it might have been the Big Dumper himself, but the talk that I've heard, the people that I've heard talk about it were from inside the clubhouse were like, yeah, we didn't like it. It sucked. We weren't huge fans. But it's brought guys in that are contributing. Canzone and Rojas are legitimately contributing to what over the last month has been the best offense in the major leagues.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little stitious. I'm still scared. I'm still
just petting Pax.
Justin
is just loving his role of the show right now.
I'm still scared because I really like Kelnick, and I want him to succeed, and I'm scared that maybe this isn't going to work out long term, but I don't think that you can say that was the turning point. I think that it's more accurate to say that point of the season was a turning point, and there were multiple things that were huge. Like, this is a huge moment that all happened in the same week and a half period. And now the Mariners are playing better. The Ners.
Stop it, Andrew. Don't join his side on this.
Joe Fan started the Ners thing, and
Joe Fan
and I'm
is
on
in
board.
real estate now, so you can stop.
Like a made-up name of a guy who's just a fan.
It always has.
It does.
It really
And
has.
he's got two N's,
first-
just the way that Rojas has two S's on the end of his Twitter handle. Shockingly, nobody else has that because it looks like Rojas.
Thank you, Daniel.
Just thought I'd spell it out for you. I agree with you, Andrew, 100%.
Smells like dog farts over here.
What were you doing to Pax?
farts.
I think you farted.
Definitely dogs.
Well, you must.
Might have been Andrew now, in hindsight.
You are making Pax too relaxed. Thank you for bringing up that there's a lot of things that happened around that time frame. Was that before or after the All-Star break that he broke his foot? It was right after. So also, Julio just goes through this
Hey,
massive.
Siri, when was the MLB All-Star game?
Okay, when did Jared Kelenic get hurt? You also need to answer
The
that
19th,
question.
July 19th, Kelenic got hurt.
Wait, you just said I'm confused.
July 19th was when Kelenic got hurt. July 11th was the All-Star game.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's just after that. Yeah.
so Julio gets to recover
Then
finally,
and then the
and then Kelenic gets hurt, and then the trade deadline. All of these line up, and they were also trending. They were also showing signs right before that.
Yeah.
Right before the All-Star break. They showed some signs, even though they were staying on their 500 tack.
tease tack.
Yeah, but it was against good teams.
Yeah.
Remember? Because, we were, really excited that they would win 3 or 2 in a row against good teams.
Yeah.
And they would lose 2 in a row against bad teams.
Yeah.
But they were showing you.
Yeah.
They were like, we're here. We're here. And so that's what I see. I hope Kelenic turns into what we think he's going to be and what he think he can be. And again, because could you imagine an outfield with Canzone, Kelenic, and Julio?
I'm trying.
You're trying, right? Because while Canzone's not a great outfielder, he's better than Teo. And I feel like Teo would be a good DH type guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's
dude.
been on fire this month.
He's
Did you know
been-
Teoscar Hernandez is
Strikeouts and home runs.
But he's batting like 360 in the month of August.
Yeah. And imagine if he didn't have to mess around in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
That could, I don't know. I could be wrong there.
or even I wouldn't even hate seeing Teoscar as the guy that subs in the outfield every week. He goes out there every week, but he's mostly DH. And
He's the guy who they wanted at the beginning of the season.
he's hitting bombs or he's striking out.
Yeah. But he's who they wanted at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
They wanted a guy who played outfield and DH'd and just hit snooks.
I actually think you might not be giving him enough credit for how he's batting this month. Because August is almost over. He only has 5 home runs, and he's batting almost 360 this month.
He's on it, but that's what we knew about Teo coming in, right?
Hot and cold, yeah.
He is ice cold and
Yeah.
he is flaming hot. And right now we're seeing flaming hot Teo,
Yeah.
and we are hoping that he stays flaming hot through the rest of the year and October. Because look at this Mariners team. Look at this momentum they have. And by the way, I don't like Mike Salk, but look at the Rangers. What a bunch of booty. They are 1-9 in their last games, and we are 9-1. And take that freaking Texas.
What does Mike Salk have to do with that, just out of curiosity?
He thought that Texas wasn't going to be able to hang on because he never believed in them.
Injury prone to last the whole season.
Yeah, he was like, you know what?
Kudos to public enemy number 1, Mike Salk.
Yeah. I personally, the Seawald trade, it stinks to lose your closer, especially when you like him as much as you like Seawald because he just seems like a dude that you like. They sold at the they sold at the best possible time. He was on a heater. He was your closer. He was a stud, and they were like, "Yeah, guess what? We made him what he was. His stuff isn't what he is showing right now, and he's getting older, and he has club control. This is the perfect time to sell Paul Seawald." Mm-hmm. And I think they got a good deal for him. Whether it works out long
They
term,
have 2 starters. They have 2 guys that are contributing right now.
Rojas.
Danny Rojas. Baseball is life.
They have two guys.
Short term, it's
They have two guys who can start for you. I won't call them like everyday starters. I think Canzone could be, and we'll see what. Rojas has been
really good.
He's been a platoon guy though.
Yeah.
And I think he'll platoon for you. But I mean, I think they maxed out Paul Sewald.
I agree.
Whether it works out and you find yourself at the end of the season and you're like, crap, really would have worked to have Paul Sewald now. Or do your young guns who have just ridiculous stuff finally realize their potential? There you go. And if you get into the playoffs, guess who becomes a reliever? Bryce Miller.
Daniel Hargrove.
No, stop it.
Sorry.
Justin.
You asked me a question.
No, if you get into the playoffs, Bryce Miller is now a reliever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You think Bryce, I mean, of all the starters we have, the one that I'm like, you know what? If he was a reliever, I think he might be better. It's Bryce Miller. He's mainly a two-pitch pitcher. You go with Castillo, Kirby, Gilbert. Gosh, man.
Kirby, Castillo, Gilbert.
Dude.
Gilbert, Castillo, Kirby.
It's insane. It's insane. Get to the playoffs and watch this team just roast people. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I'm way too excited. And the whole Jared Kelenic thing, like...
Do you know when he might come back?
I think it's supposed to be...
He's supposed to be starting a rehab assignment like almost immediately.
yeah,
So
soon.
He could be coming back towards the end of the season.
Andrew said he could be coming back.
That's awesome.
Well, it could be
Before
soon.
that, like within the next couple weeks,
He could be back in 2 weeks, man.
That's awesome.
Like, and imagine a lineup. Okay, I'm just going to throw out this lineup. You got JP leading off. You got Julio batting second. You got Ty France hitting third. Eugenio hitting fourth. Raleigh hitting fifth. Maybe switch those two. And then you got Teo hitting DH. He's the DH.
And Shohei Ohtani.
Not yet.
Oh, sorry.
Don't.
What's after Teo?
I might not be able to finish the show if you
Sorry.
start showing.
Sorry.
showing
What's
Shohei
I'm
in
sorry.
there.
What's after Teo?
After Teo, you have... So that's 6. Then you have Jared Kelenic playing left field. You have Canzone playing right field. And then you have freaking Caballero or Rojas playing second base. Cabby or Rojas. That's a freaking good lineup.
Cobby's gonna start a fight against the
Cabby. Fight.
He's gonna start a fight against the Astros if it's close at the end of the season.
All I want out of that fight, Andrew, is for him to directly punch Altuve in the face. Like, I just want Tim Anderson, Ramirez, except for it's Cabby punching freaking Altuve in the face. That's all I want. That's my dream.
That would be amazing.
And then you have the rotation of Castillo, Kirby, Gilbert, Wu, Miller. Like, oh my gosh, dude. We don't have any more commercial breaks, but I feel like I need a commercial break just to calm down.
Well, do you need to calm down?
How are we in
And
first
by
place?
calm down, do I mean, do you need to go to the bathroom?
Both. How
Because-
are we in first place, Justin? This happened while I was camping, and I don't know how to be.
Daniel can't process this.
I don't know how to human right now. This is freaking insane. How did Texas turn into poop right when we needed them to? This is 95 all over again, and I don't know what to do because I'm an adult. I'm not 6 years old. I'm freaking out, man.
Just take a deep breath.
I'm
Just stop.
hyperventilating.
In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Now pet a dog. Did that help?
A little bit.
Okay, well, let's move on to local sports then.
Okay.
You guys want a bed?
We can... Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's give us a bed. Give us a bed for this because we got a little bit of Grays Harbor Gulls FC update here, and I'm going to start with Saturday. The Gulls boys U15 Premier Team played in its first home match in the WPL Super 1 League and came away with a 1-0 win. Hebron Garcia scored the match's lone goal and was praised by his coach for his stellar play, especially in the second half. Mauricio, the goalkeeper, came
Shock.
up with 4 crucial saves in the shutout.
Shocker.
Coach Daniel also cited Rigo, Michael, Israel, Fabian, Ethan, Christian, JB, Ivan, Zeke, and Jackson. That's got to be
Rigo.
just about everybody.
I'm just throwing out. You got to say Rigo.
Sorry. I'll do better next time.
There you go.
He cited all those
You took
guys.
Spanish class with Selena just like I did.
No, I
Come on,
didn't.
man.
Cited them for their contributions in the win,
Wait,
calling
really?
the win, quote, an incredible team performance, unquote.
Now I'm surprised.
The Gulls were missing a few of their players, so contributions were needed from all of these available, and some were asked to step up into different roles than normal. This Gulls team will be back in action on Saturday in Montesano, and we will have updates on the results, as well as the other Gulls teams next week.
Wait, how are there more players that we didn't already mention that apparently weren't there?
No, I think that's all of them.
Okay.
Basically. But basically, I think the point was that Coach Daniel was saying that because they were missing some guys.
And by the way, I'm not the coach.
They were different Coach Daniel. Missing about 4 guys, and so a lot of guys were asked to step up and do different things from normal or step up and play when they wouldn't have normally played quite as much. And he was very impressed with how the team did as a whole. Hebron Garcia, that's a name we're very familiar with. He's the one who scored the goal. And Mauricio as the goalie recording the shutout. Big deal. By the way, this U15 Premier team, that is a team that we've been following now for the last year or so. This is a bunch of really talented guys. I'm very excited to see what they'll do this fall season.
Another team we've been following a lot, the Grays Harbor Gulls FC Academy. Elma Eagles U19 team won the River Jam. That sounds like something like, you remember, I mean, there's also Space Jam, but
Strawberry Jam.
What was the jam? What was the jam? NBA Jam.
NBA Jam.
Quality video game.
Good video game.
River Jam soccer tournament by going undefeated. Of course they did. 4 wins and a tie, scoring 29 goals. Oh my goodness, without giving up any. You know what that means? That means Emmy was working. And a tie, 29 without any goals given up. Valerie, Justin Domashevitz.
I left you this one for real.
Echeverria scored 9 goals. Yes! And Beta Valentine added 7. Emmy Spencer, shocker, recorded a shutout in goal all 5 games. That's Fünf if you want to talk German. That is
Do we want
Cinco! Cinco if you
That's-
want to speak Spanish.
That's not German.
No, Fünf is German.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Vier, Fünf.
I missed the beginning of that. Then.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my
Sechs.
bad.
There you go. Okay.
9.
Yeah. Oh,
9 is German for no.
and 9. Shocker.
Wow.
I'm not positive on that one. 240 plus scoreless minutes.
Emmy Spencer's a
for
stud.
Emmy Spencer. She's a stud. I once saw her catch a one-handed football multiple times as like a 7-year-old, and I was like, you know what? That's just stupid.
She also
Stop
hit a
it.
home run off of Daniel in a wiffle ball
You
tournament. But let's move on to
Why did
the
you have to bring that one up?
Montesano Football Jamboree. We had 4 teams participating: Montesano, Hoquiam, Elma, and Rochester on Friday night. 4 touchdowns. Montesano had scores from Tutties,
I
from
was gonna
Jackson
say.
Wilson and Gabe Bodwell, and Elma had a score from Isaac Phillips. Besides that, there was no touchdowns in the game, in any of the games. Montesano had a 2-0 win over Hoquiam. Rochester and Elma played to a 0-0 tie. Rochester and Monty played to a 0-0 tie, and then Elma took Hoquiam out 1-0.
I gotta say, that kind of plays into my theory that Monty's defense is going to be ridiculous this year, and then, you know what? I have faith that Monty's offense by the end of the season will figure it out.
So that's going to do it for the local sports roundup portion of this. Although we do,
Although we do what?
we do have to mention all of our Athlete of the Week nominees.
Right. Real quick,
Yeah.
my dad doesn't comment on YouTube, but he said don't forget they'll get Murphy back also. So right now the Mariners have been playing with Brian O'Keefe, which is Brian O'Who. He's a dude who chills in... You remember the movie... Gosh dang it. What is... Oh,
Toy Story.
no, the one with the
The Lion
bulls. The Raleigh...
Dreamgirls.
The Bull
Bull Durham.
Bulls. Bull Durham. Thank you. Gosh. The
I
Bulls.
can't believe I guessed Dreamgirls first.
Anyway, you remember that catcher? He's
Yeah.
the main character of the show. Kevin Costner plays the catcher in Bull Durham.
Yeah.
That's basically who Brian O'Keefe is.
Yeah.
He hangs out in AAA and plays catcher, and then they're like, oh, hey, we need a catcher because all our dudes are hurt.
Beyonce plays the main character in... Well, no, actually, I guess Jennifer Hudson's the main character in Dreamgirls. Or Jamie Foxx, one of those. That's a good movie. One of my guilty pleasures.
I'm going to have to watch that one. I'm going to introduce you to another guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Watch Perfect Game. Also Kevin Costner.
Never heard of it.
Not really up your alley, but give it a try.
Does it have any robots?
No.
Explosions?
Nah.
Car chases?
Nope.
Any inappropriate comedy?
Maybe?
Doesn't sound like my kind of thing.
Bummer.
Let's
Well-
get to our Athlete of the Week nominations because
Okay.
we have several.
Let's go.
And one of them I'm very excited about because this one came into me via text.
Let's go.
Annabelle Estrada, who is a Montesano High School grad and is playing soccer for South Puget Sound Community College.
Otherwise known as the most initials in an acronym.
SPSCC.
Yes.
She scored a hat trick in a 6-0 win over Shoreline on Wednesday. She is a freshman, as I mentioned, from Montesano High School.
I'm excited about that for two reasons.
Okay.
A, hat trick.
Yeah.
B, take that, Shoreline.
Yeah, take that, Shoreline. Annabelle was second-team All-State in 2022 for the Bulldogs. So big time. So here's the thing: is I got that nomination that came in, and then
Yeah.
I did a little more digging.
Dig away, minor.
I found out we have 2 more local girls that play on that team.
Minors, not minors.
One of them recorded the shutout in goal in that 6-0 victory.
Oh?
So let's start with
Who's our goalie that's not Emmy Spencer? I forget.
Grace Coonrad.
Let's go!
So Grace Coonrad, who is an Elma High School grad, she was first team All-League as a senior, and this is her second year.
Wait a
with-
second. I realized that I was excited because I recognized the name Coonrad.
It's not Kenny.
But she's not related to Kenny, I'm
She
assuming.
might be.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I do know Grace Coonrad was a first team All-League keeper a couple years ago for Elma.
Nice.
She was the keeper in that 6-0 win.
Yes.
She recorded 1 save in that game, and also she recorded 9 saves
Yeah.
the game before in a 1-0 loss to Bellevue. And actually, Grace Coonrad was the primary goalkeeper for SPSCC last year, and she recorded 158 saves
Dang.
and 2 shutouts
Whoa.
in 19 starts last season for SPSCC.
Nice.
But that's not all.
Oh, there's more.
Katie Burnett, who is
Okay.
a Hoquiam High School grad
Okay.
and a 3-time All-League honoree,
Yes.
which I believe as a sophomore she was an honorable mention, as a junior she was second team, and as a senior she was first team.
I remember Katie.
In the very next game after that, recorded 11 saves in a 3-0 loss to Walla Walla.
Dang.
So we have 3 girls playing for South Puget Sound Community College that are from Grays Harbor, from our Grays Harbor schools.
I love it.
And I'm really thank you to Ian for sending me the Annabella Estrada nomination, because
Definitely.
that led me down this rabbit hole that helped me find these other girls who have accomplished good things playing soccer at the next level.
But did you find any rabbits?
No rabbits. And I don't remember what SPSCC's mascot is, but it's not the rabbits.
Follow the white rabbit. Sorry.
I got a couple of other nominees here. From the Grays Harbor Gulls, I think there's the obvious one, which is Emmy Spencer,
Yeah.
going 5 games with
Yep.
shutouts, 240 plus minutes.
Yep.
Emmy
But-
Spencer, like, it gets kind of boring. We're like, Emmy Spencer, all she does is win. Like,
Yeah.
anytime we ever mention her here, it's because she did something great, either
You know-
on horses or on the pitch,
You know, I remember when
or hitting
Emmy's-
a home run off of Daniel.
I remember. Yeah, you know, stop it. I remember when Emmy was Justin's little sister.
Justin Spencer, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Different
now
Justin.
we rarely mention Justin.
yeah.
I bet he doesn't even listen to our show because of that.
No, he doesn't like you. He told me.
What?
Yeah.
Justin doesn't like me?
He was like, "Oh, Daniel Hargrove, I hate that guy."
We were buds.
I made that up.
He told me how to play with cracked ribs.
I 100% made that up.
If you know Justin
That's
Spencer's
niche knowledge.
If you know Justin Spencer's athletic history and my history with the Bearcats, vital knowledge.
If you go back to Justin Spencer as a high school athlete playing for Elma High School in football,
Just stupid numbers.
when Tristan Robinette was the quarterback there at Elma, he was the receiver.
Yeah, there was
He
only
got
one.
all the yards, and somehow, even though he was the only person who was a receiver, he still managed to get all the yards.
Sometimes triple coverage.
Really good player.
Yeah.
Also, Tristan Robinette, by the way, really good quarterback.
Yeah.
For Elma.
Yep.
Emmy is his little sister. Pardon the chewing noises. That's just Daniel because he's hungry.
Sorry,
And
there's-
but you know what? He's eating vegetables, so
There's
that's a good thing.
delicious homemade ranch and garden carrots here.
And I think also mentioning the two girls who scored the most goals, Beta Valentine with 7 goals. That's a name I'm familiar with from Elma. The other name was Valerie Echeverria.
Okay.
Echeverria?
I don't know. You didn't write it down in here. So I can't help you out on that one.
I did write it down in here. I just didn't. There's no pronunciation key.
You wrote it in our...
Valerie Echeverria scored 9 goals for the Gulls FC Academy Elma Eagles U19
It's in our
team.
show sheet?
Yeah. Is it not showing in yours?
Oh, there it is.
Okay. So Valerie, congratulations on leading the team in goals. Beta Valentine has been a stud since a freshman. So
Oh,
that's a
that
name
right.
I'm familiar
right.
with.
I called that one Echeverria because of the 2 R's.
You're probably closer to right than I am, but I'm not going to try. I already did the Danny Rojas thing, and I was told not to try to imitate other languages.
Oh,
So I'm
who
gonna.
told you not to?
I don't want to say. So I think giving those girls a mention is a big deal in the nominations. We also have a nomination for Hebron Garcia from the Grays Harbor Gulls, who scored the lone goal in a 1-0 victory. I think it's also fair to mention Mauricio. I think Mauricio, that's a name that's come up so much on our show.
Yeah.
Because goalies are kind of like, I mean, I guess really defenders are the unsung heroes of the soccer pitch.
Absolutely. We don't even know stats that work for them.
Yeah, but Mauricio as a goalie, like, you allow 0 goals, but the people who get the most mentions are the people who score all the goals.
Right.
So I want to make sure we give a shout out to Mauricio as a nomination here as well.
I just want to throw this out here. Coach Daniel, tell us about defenders because we don't.
No, he did.
Okay.
Yeah. Coach Daniel gave me a very thorough recap of everything that happened.
Did he give you stats? Like, what is a defender in soccer stats? I played for 15 years. I don't know what that is. Or 13 years. I played for 13 years. I don't know what a defender stat is.
Actually, honestly, Dan, would you like me to read the...
Yes.
You want me to read the recap?
I would.
Okay, hang on.
Unless it's boring.
No, it's not boring. It's very interesting. It's a lot of information.
Okay. I want to hear the recap.
So
I want to hear how, it's weird. I played soccer for so long, and every now and then I forget that I played soccer.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional, not going to lie.
So Rigo played the whole match at
Rigo.
right back and stepped up, playing the best we've seen him play in the club. Michael Garcia, we know that one.
Yep.
Won every ball in the air and on the ground and in a one-on-one battle and helped carry the team forward. Israel dominated the midfield. He was a brick in the wall with whom no one could get past.
Love it.
Fabian and Ethan, first time pairing in defense, and these two played like they were brothers.
Love it.
Nothing came through the middle of the entire match.
I love these. This is a great description. We need to have Daniel on.
Christian ran the left side of the field and caused them all sorts of problems from the entirety of the match, nearly scoring on 2 different occasions. JB and Ivan, that's JB Fabian and Ivan Rodriguez, controlled the midfield, and they were so helpful in transitions. Talon played in a new position and did really well there, was intense and aggressive. Zeke back in with the team, and his first touch and ball control was improved he was gone.
Just going to throw this out there.
Yeah.
If your name's Talon and you're not aggressive, that's odd.
Good point. Zeke back in with the team, and his first touch on the ball control has improved, and he, while he was gone, glad to get him some minutes and get him back into the team. And Jackson had to be aggressive in and out of possession, and it took him a bit to get adjusted to the concept, but he did so and did very well. taking up space and never giving number 7, which I'm assuming is someone on the other team, a chance to get off his shot.
You know what? I'm
Is
going to
this, like,
assume
good,
that
good for your soul, what just happened
I'm
here?
going to assume that number 7 is like a stud.
Yeah, like that kid that dunked on you.
No, shut up.
The kid that you thought you guarded really well and then his crotch was in your face.
That kid blocked my dunk attempt.
Oh,
I did not get dunked on.
I did that backwards.
Yeah. And I really resent you for bringing that part up. That was not nice. I wish that I would have played for a coach like Daniel. Like, this is such higher level stuff than I ever was
Never
a part of.
has a truer thing been spoken than I wish that I would have played for a coach like Daniel from you.
Yeah.
But this is a different Daniel.
Different Daniel.
You wish that you had played with a coach for a coach like you.
Now you're twisting my words.
I am.
I'm wondering.
It's actually kind of what I do best.
I'm really. Thank you so much for reading that because that was so enlightening.
Thank you.
I had one coach that was like a soccer guy, and I remember fighting him the whole time until the like last game of the season, and I was like, you know what? Actually, I wasn't like that. Gonna be fully honest here. My dad was like, hey, he's your coach. You need to do what he tells you to do. Shocker. I had the best game of my absolute life.
Wow, your dad was right?
Right?
Amazing how parents are right.
And the coach was right.
Will you tell my children that?
And the coach was right at the same time. One of your kids already knows that. I don't need to
know that. They're both really good at that, actually.
I don't need to talk to your kids about that at all. But wow. That's really cool. I loved that breakdown from Coach Daniel. That was really cool.
I should have just planned to read that from the beginning.
Yeah.
I just threw all the names in the recap. I didn't realize how into that you were going to be.
You do enough work as it is, Justin. Who are you leaning towards for Athlete of the Week?
Well,
that's what I want to know.
I would throw in... So, from the Jamboree, from the football Jamboree, there was 3 players...
Francis says that number 7 is the Van Lith of boys soccer.
Oh, gross. Then yes, that is. We should give that kid the Athlete of the Week.
Hold on, let me go back and make sure I know who that was. That was Zeke. It was Jackson. Jackson is the one who took up space and never gave number 7 a chance to get his shot off.
Just gonna throw this out there. I'd shut Van Lith.
Even in soccer.
You gotta stop. I watched another video on TikTok of Haley Van Lith. She's so good with the ball in her hands in a one-on-one scenario. She gets her shot. You're not stopping her.
Yeah, she's gonna challenge you to one-on-one
Bruh.
at some point.
Bruh. We'll talk after the show.
Okay. So we have our soccer nominees. I also would like to mention there's 3 touchdowns scored in the football Jamboree. One was Jackson Wilson from Montesano. One was Isaac Phillips from Elma.
Yep.
And I actually would like to talk about the Jamboree for just a couple minutes.
We need to. Should we pick an athlete before that?
Let's talk about the Jamboree first.
Oh, man, you are just stringing things along.
Because Gabe Bodwell is the 3rd player I was going to mention.
I heard he's pretty good.
Gabe actually is a former Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week.
He is.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I bumped it.
Yep.
He had, I think, 4 sacks or 5 sacks in a game last season as a defensive end. And
I'm sorry, that Monty defensive line is just stupid.
Well, if you look from left to right, you got Gabe Bodwell, Tyler Johansson, Camden Taylor.
They're all 6'4" and monsters.
They're all huge. They've all been starting together since they were sophomores. It was about midway through their sophomore season that they've been starting together. Now they're all seniors.
It's dumb. There's a chance that even though Hutton Napiers and Adam Big Hill is not on this team, that this is the best Monty defense we've seen in a long time, and it's because of those 3 guys.
So that's the core of the defense for sure.
And it's bonkers.
So,
and then I hear that there's just some athletic freak playing linebacker who just is shot out of a cannon.
We'll get to that. Shot out of a cannon, direct quote from me.
Yeah, well,
but
I want to mention that.
I want to talk about Gabe first. So Gabe Bodwell He is a defensive end. During the Jamboree, Montesano was doing a lot of rotating. You only get 20 plays on offense and 20 plays on defense between the different scrimmages. But Gabe, as an offensive player, every time he got a touch with the ball, he really made it count. And if you look at what Montesano did overall at the Jamboree, they shot themselves in the foot quite a bit. They had some trouble with snaps. They had some trouble hanging onto the ball. They had a lot of trouble with penalties. They scored twice against Hoquiam. They didn't manage to score when they played against Rochester, but I believe had they not had so many penalty issues and so many self-inflicted wounds, they probably would have scored at least once against Rochester. So I think if you're looking at the Jamboree as a whole, you have to feel like Montesano came out as the number one team there. Gabe Bodwell's a huge part of that. The longest touchdown of the day was a roughly 40-yard touchdown run by Gabe in which he came out off the left side against Hoquiam, barely touched. Now, if you don't know Gabe, he's about 6'4", and without any knowledge, I'm going to guess he's about like 220 pounds. He's a big kid. He is also a state high jump champion. He is fast, and he is strong. So when you get Gabe Bodwell in the open field and you try to tackle him with one or two guys, that's a problem. So in addition to the fact that Gabe is a really good defensive player, Gabe had probably the biggest impact runs for Montesano on the offensive side, including what was a roughly 40-yard touchdown run.
And I'm going to say real quick, I want to jump in here with a couple things. As you described Gabe already, he is ridiculously athletic, as you mentioned, with that high jump state championship.
Yeah.
But he was starting to become one of Montesano's best offensive players last year.
Yeah.
And also, the other thing I wanted to add is in the Jamboree, don't they start from the 40?
They start from the 40, yeah.
So when you say a 40-yard run, that's like legitimately basically as far as you can run.
I can only go based on my recollection, but I think it was their second play. And it was the first play went basically nowhere. So when I say roughly 40, I mean it was basically the length of, and he came off the edge and had no one in front of him. He had an offensive lineman screaming down the field as a lead blocker against a safety who had no chance anyway. So
And offensive lineman.
And
you know, as a receiver, every now and then I would have the safety responsibility.
Yeah.
But the fact that you had an offensive lineman who was like, hey, I have no other responsibilities. There's a poor, unsuspecting safety. Poor kid.
It was basically a 4.52 40-yard dash down the field to get to the safety. I'll just say that. And Gabe, but like, let's say, hypothetically speaking, had the lead blocker not been there, a safety against Gabe Bodwell, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because one safety is not bringing Gabe Bodwell down.
In this Monty offense, it is odd to see a kid who is 6'4". He's 6'4", right?
6'4"-ish, yeah.
Would you say all of those linemen are 6'4"-ish?
The defensive linemen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Cam,
6'3", 6'4",
having
all in that
personally
range,
played wiffle ball with Cam Taylor,
yeah.
he is a terrifyingly 6'4".
Yeah. Cam's the thickest, though.
He is... God, he scares me.
He would scare you if he had an ounce of, like... So, Cam is aggressive during a play. If he had an ounce of, like, outside of football aggression, he'd be terrifying.
Well,
but he does, and he's a lovely child.
The fact that he doesn't show any emotion whatsoever
it makes it worse.
Scares me more.
It totally makes it worse.
Cam Taylor could hit a game-winning home run and run around the bases with a completely placid face on, and it scares me.
Yeah.
And yet, I can't think of another human who I'd rather be like, you know what? I'd play with you in any sport. I don't care if you play that sport.
Play with him, have him on your side in a bar fight.
I want him on my team. I go to pick teams, and I'm like, hey, Cam, you want to be on my team?
Well, if Cam is on your team, then he can't hurt you. So,
yes.
Fair.
And you know what's funny? Is there's a lot of guys who I'd mention in the same breath, and have I been on a show since we have, or between sickness and other things, have I been on a show since our wiffle ball tournament?
One, I think.
We're not sure.
I don't
you were
think
on
so.
one.
I don't think I've been on a show since our wiffle ball tournament.
Really? Weren't you on the week that we had the wiffle ball?
Maybe.
tournament? I think you were on one.
It's annoying to mention because they're all Monty kids, but
Is that annoying?
to me it is.
That's great.
To me it is. I freaking loved our team so much.
They're so great.
And Cam, as freaking Russian from Rocky as he is, was awesome. The fact that Gabe Bodwell is like that, but also like, I mean, he's a state high jump champ.
Yeah.
And was becoming a huge weapon as a fullback last year when he was a junior. Goodness gracious, look out. Like, you see these Monty iterations of offense evolve, and I think the best thing about this Monty offense that you see is they highlight the players that are the biggest... Oh, what's the right word for it? They highlight the players and the positions that have the most talent. Mm-hmm. So we have seen Anthony Louthan play quarterback.
Yeah.
Where they basically went...
That was a fullback at quarterback.
They basically went, well, our offense has a good offensive line, and Anthony.
Yeah.
And they basically said, go for it.
Yeah.
Or you see Sam Winter. Or you see Bodie Polar when he was healthy, just catching bombs. And then you see fullbacks. You see Tucker Babo. Or you see Z-backs, where you see Kyler Pranty. Or they find...
You're speaking my language right now.
Right? Like, they find the people who are like, you play this position, and so now that position is our best player. And so that position is the highlighter of our offense. Or you have Matthew Jensen, who wasn't Anthony Louthan, and yet they were like, no, we're running the offense around this guy.
Oh, they had some good receivers that year, too.
Exactly. Right, like, this is why I love Coach Jensen. As much as I
hates Monty.
As much as I hate Monty, as much as I'm a Hoquiam guy.
You're a closet Monty fan.
Shut up, Justin. As much as I the ability that Coach Jensen has to be like, this is where the highlight of our offense is, and we're still going to run our offense, but this is where our best talent is, and then highlight that. It is amazing. It's so freaking good. It's frustrating. And I think that...
I was thinking about Ben Ohashi and that streak he had down the left sideline in the state title game in 2012.
Stop it.
Glory days.
Yeah. And that...
I'm not going to play it.
It's annoying, though, right? Like, to think about it.
No, it's not annoying at all. I love it.
Justin's like, why would that be annoying?
Yeah, why would that be annoying, Daniel?
But I just assume, from what you have said so far, I assume that this Montesano offense, they'll figure things out on the offensive line, and this will be the year that fullback is the highlighted position of the offense.
And I would point out that at halfback, you have a few different guys who are capable of big hit
and
potential.
I'm not saying that anybody else is going to be bad.
Sure, yeah, no,
I'm just saying that the most athletically gifted position, probably going to be the guy who just won state as a freaking high jumper, and he's playing fullback for you.
Oh, we hate that guy.
And he's a massive problem because he's also gigantic and strong.
Yeah, exactly.
Some food smells really good right
Gosh,
now. But if you
Hannah
have...
keeps bringing food over here, and I'm just like...
on top of Gabe at fullback, as a halfback, you have the combination of Tucker Eaton and Tarek Gunter and Thomas Flink. Like, they're all little guys, but they're all really fast.
And as a Hoquiam guy, I'm just going to say that Tucker Eaton's probably going to become a baller because it makes me sad.
Yeah, Tucker's good. He's real fast.
I love Tucker. His brother, Malachi, freak show for
Total
Hoquiam.
stud.
Absolute monster for Hoquiam.
So, speaking of Hoquiam, at the same
Stop
Jamboree...
it, Andrew!
At the same Jamboree, Hoquiam had something I thought was interesting as a storyline.
Okay.
Which is...
Real quick, I just want to say, give us 14 years. Team's going to be really good.
Okay, because then what?
Anchor's a stud.
I don't even know if he's going to be playing football, but there's some other kids in that age group at 2 years old. Ridiculous.
So for
Don't
Hoquiam,
quote me on any of that.
Anchor's running through walls.
In the first,
He already wants to be a catcher.
Let's just point out, I'm going to be strengthening his ankles from the get-go. I'm going to work on no technique, just ankle strength.
Ankles, hamstrings, Achilles.
just so we can mention all of the teams that we had locally who competed in the Jamboree.
Right.
I think for Hoquiam, the interesting part is they had two different quarterbacks, so 2 scrimmages. Xander Jump played quarterback in the first one. Joey Bozich played quarterback in the second one, and I think that the reason for
You
that...
shouldn't be shocked that a Jump and a Bozich are major players.
Fair.
Yeah.
But also, I think that Xander entering his senior year is probably just the best, the most athletically capable of making plays. And so it's possible that you want to put Xander Jump as your flanker, guy who's playing something between a wide receiver and a running back, so you can get the ball in his hands. And Joey did a pretty good job.
It reminds me of when... Oh, gosh, Justin, you're going to have to help me out. I'm really frustrated about their football coach who went to Yelm.
Oh, Jason Ronquillo?
Remember when Jared was a senior?
Yeah.
He played a lot of Wildcat.
Yeah.
That's kind of the situation they're in, right? Like,
well, they had Kenny Wakefield play quarterback for a while, which was just that was the guy you trusted most on that team to play quarterback.
Exactly. And so Joey Bosich would be kind of that guy.
Yeah. I
Right?
think so.
Like, we want to have our athlete be able to get the ball in situations to score.
Yeah.
And so Joey Bosich would be the type of player to go in, you trust him to play quarterback, in an ability to try and get Xander Jump more opportunities to get the ball in open space.
So I would point out that of the teams that were there, Hoquiam was probably by results was the worst of the 4.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that they were like way far behind Elma and Rochester. But also Montesano only scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They didn't allow any, but they only scored 2. So I didn't think that there was like of the 4 teams that were there, Montesano was the best. But it wasn't like I looked at Monty and thought, oh man, that team is, 2 head and shoulders above all the rest of them. I think for Hoquiam, number one, defensively, you allowed all 3 of the touchdowns.
Right.
They allowed 1 to Elma. Isaac Phillips scored the touchdown for Elma. But Carter Studer deserves a lot of credit there. I think for Elma also offensively, there's this sophomore there named Isaac McGaffey. That's about like 6'3", and I think athletically really jumps out at you as somebody who's going to make some plays. They also have a couple of other receivers who are going to make some plays as well. For Hoquiam, in addition to Bozich and Xander Jump playing quarterback, they have a receiver, a running back, Dominic Stancypher, who seems powerful, who might be able to get some yards if they can get a push on the offensive line.
Yep.
So there's a few players to watch for all these teams. And Jamboree is a Jamboree. Like, it's an extension of practice, basically. It's an exhibition where, for Hoquiam, you're trying to figure out your situation. You play 2 different quarterbacks in your 2 scrimmages.
Right.
If you're Elma, like they played Carter Studer, who is no doubt their quarterback.
Since he was sophomore?
He played a scrimmage and a half. But then they brought this other kid, Isaac.
Can't remember his name.
Anyway,
it's going to happen.
The sophomore.
Yeah.
Wow. I think it's McPherson. It's McSomething.
Okay.
Where's number 3?
McDonald's.
He played quarterback.
I'm loving it.
He quarterbacked towards the end of the second scrimmage and got a few plays in.
Okay.
So like you can tell that as things are going on at the Jamboree, Montesano's mixing guys in.
Right.
Rochester's running a whole new offense because apparently they've got Tenino coaches there now from the previous Tenino regime who were trying to get this T style offense going that they had before.
What a mess is Tenino.
It is a mess. Gosh. So I think the Jamboree, you take it with a grain of salt because it's an extension of practice where you're trying to figure things out.
Right.
But it gives you a chance to have some full speed hits. So Montesano comes out on top. Hoquiam looks like of the 4 teams probably the least capable. Elma, I would say offensively looked pretty good when they played against Hoquiam. So
I do have faith in Hoquiam's coaching staff coming back after what I saw last year.
Yeah,
I got some faith in Hoquiam's coaching staff. So we'll see how that plays out in league, but they are an experienced staff, and so I think that like last year, they will probably surprise some people.
Yeah.
Are they going to beat Monty? It's, as I have said since I was in high school, it is Montesano's league until you beat them. And then on that freaking year that Hoquiam beat them, guess who still won state? That still ticks me off.
Well, last year there was a 3-way tie for first place in
Yeah.
the league. Although I have been told that there's a pretty significant chance that Eatonville will be moving up to 2A next year.
Thank goodness. Not because I don't think that we can beat them, but gross.
Also, Rochester might be moving down. So if Rochester comes down, they'll be a nice fit.
Rochester fits our league much better than Eatonville.
I would love it if Aberdeen would move down to Evergreen 1A, but for administrative reasons, that will never happen, it sounds like.
Administrative reasons.
So, I don't know how deep I want to go into this because I don't have official information.
Because they should.
So, there's a rule in our state that if you have a certain percentage of students on free lunch that you can move down a classification. So Toppenish did this. Toppenish, you remember last year, Montesano beat them in a state football playoff game.
Right.
Toppenish was a borderline 3A school.
Wow.
Which moved down to 1A because of that rule.
Wow.
Right.
Aberdeen certainly qualifies as a school that could move down to 1A.
Are you serious?
But so again, I have to preface this by saying this is actual scuttlebutt.
Okay.
This is not official information that I've received from any kind of administrative school resource. It's things that I have heard from people locally.
Okay.
That Aberdeen, while they certainly would qualify for that, because they have such a high percentage of kids who qualify for the free and reduced lunch, that they don't even bother with counting them. They just give it to everybody.
That's true. It's true.
The procedure for reaching out to all of the parents, getting them all to respond with, here's why we qualify for that, and getting the official percentage of what their students would be, because they don't even know, would be such a tall administrative task that it would be borderline impossible.
No, it's not. Do it. Knowing people in their administration, I'm going to talk to... Literally, Andrew, you laugh. I'm going to go talk to them as soon as possible. It's not. Do it.
He's just like, no, talk to those people.
Well,
This will also save you so much travel cost. Could you imagine an Aberdeen school where their league consists of Elma, Monty, and Hoquiam as the main opponents, and Rochester, instead of Chehalis, Centralia, and the teams from Olympia?
Yeah, Tumwater might move up to
Tumwater?
3A. They might move up to 3A.
Screw Tumwater.
Tumwater should be in 3A, and they should be in 3A for multiple years, and everybody knows that's a big freaking conspiracy theory. They should have been there years ago, and they can eat a big pile of poop. But so I am going to talk to the people in the Aberdeen administration that I know and be like, hey, this will save you
Can I make
tens of thousands of dollars.
Can I make a request?
Yes.
Can you preface it with, hey, I heard this thing. I have no idea if it's true.
I will.
Preface it by saying that I heard this thing that was local rumor, and I have no idea if it's real.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Because
But
I don't want to talk out of my hind parts here.
if that's true, though, I'm sorry. You're costing the district
I am?
$10,000.
What did I do?
Not you.
You are.
But the fact that you're like, oh, we can't figure out if people are... no, that's not that hard to figure out. Everybody else is figuring it out. And you figured it out enough to be like, oh, yeah, everybody gets a free lunch.
Also, it's valuable.
It is so valuable. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And Aberdeen, I'm sorry, I'm just going to throw this out there. Aberdeen, Hoquiam, Monty, Elma, same league. They need it.
I have one more Athlete of the Week nomination I need to throw in.
How have we not done that yet? My bad. I'm sorry.
It was my fault.
Yeah. The league, let's, real quick. A league between Aberdeen, Monty,
Hoquiam, Elma, Tenino Rochester.
Tenino Rochester.
Oh, it'd be so good. That'd be like heaven.
Perfect league.
And if we could kick Tenino out of it, I'd be so happy.
You know what? Even though it's a bit of a drive, even if it's a bit of a drive, if we could kick Tenino out,
Send him
and
to 2B.
add forks. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Daniel's like, I want forks.
I'm okay with adding forks.
Kick Tenino out. Add
Justin,
no.
poor Forks is not close to anybody.
Porks.
So I'm okay with adding the fork. I'm okay with adding the Forks Spartans.
The Spork Spartans.
Just to have them in there so we can beat up another blue and yellow team.
Okay.
You suck.
Who, me or Daniel?
Him.
Oh.
Hanging out blue and yellow.
You're wearing blue and yellow.
Gosh darn it.
It's a Hoop Fest shirt, but it is blue and yellow.
Anyway, doesn't that make sense?
Also, can we make sure that we make the distinction that Aberdeen is not blue and gold? It's blue and mustard yellow.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Aberdeen.
Gold.
Blue and all of the yellows.
Mixed into one, which looks like mustard.
Justin, I am relying on you.
Okay, one more. I want to throw in one more nomination that I received for Athlete of the Week. So for Montesano in the Jamboree,
No.
Gabe Bodwell
Yes.
was the offensive star.
Yeah.
Defensively, one player stood out to this person who texted me.
I'm really curious who texted you now before hearing the name.
Only to the person that texted him.
Well, this person might have been prompted by me asking them to text me.
As long as the person wasn't related to you.
Not related.
Who was this person?
I can't disclose my sources. I'll tell you later.
You can certify that it wasn't related to you.
Not related to me, and
Okay.
I'll tell you later. So, Peyton Domashevitz,
No relation.
a defensive player for Montesano who plays strong side linebacker, came out in two scrimmages, which you have 20 snaps as a defensive team.
Right.
He had 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 4 solo tackles, and then 2 other tackles that he was in on. Against Hoquiam in the first scrimmage for Montesano, he had a tackle for loss on the first play.
Right.
And then later a sack on Xander Jump
Right.
in the scrimmage and a solo tackle in that game.
And whatever you think about Hoquiam's offense, Xander's kind of a freak athlete.
Xander's a good athlete.
He's a great athlete.
If you like, yeah, agreed. So like when we talked about how Hoquiam was not up to what the other teams were at the Jamboree, that's like not a knock on the players there. Like Xander is a good athlete.
I'm split on this one.
Okay.
So it's kind of a weird off-season period.
Yeah.
On one hand, I'm like Peyton Domashevitz. I want him. But on the other hand, no relation.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I feel like P-Town Funk is going to have just a massive senior season. I love that kid so much. No relation.
Okay.
He has the fastest 40 time, school record breaking eye test. And if you don't know what that is, look it up.
It's an agility test.
It's an agility test. School record breaking. Some other people might not bring this up.
Montesano doesn't have good athletes.
Andrew Gross. Andrew, listen to me when I say this. Adam Big Hill has an eye test on record. This kid has a better eye test.
Oh my God! Someone signed Peyton.
He also has what you might be shocked to understand. Out of all of the stats I've heard, he's got the highest vertical leap on the football team.
If someone is willing to sign Peyton, Daniel and I will team together to restrain his parents.
Right.
Like, you don't need to worry about his parents. They won't be a problem.
Exactly.
Sign Peyton.
Yes.
When Andrew leaned in to use my microphone, his hand was so high up my thigh, it was really uncomfortable.
I'm just throwing this out here.
You liked it.
As much as I love this kid, his numbers speak for himself. I'm a little worried, Andrew. Do we name him Athlete of the Week just to be bummed out later when we're like, man, should we really give it to Peyton again?
Can I?
That's a risk you might need to take.
Can I throw two? Okay, so we basically have 3 choices here, and all of them are co-athlete of the week.
Andrew, did you understand what I said? He's the fastest 40 time on the team. He has the best eye test, which, by the way, is their
What's
three.
his 60 time?
It's their shuttle.
6.69.
It's their shuttle. So, Andrew, the one where you start in the middle and you run and touch 5 yards.
I know
you go.
the shuttle.
Okay, so he's the fastest one of that. He's the fastest 40, and he's the highest vertical leap.
So DK Metcalf was terrible at the shuttle.
Yeah.
So
Peyton would have
that
smoked him.
That might be bad for him that he's good at it.
But he's a defensive player. Because they freaking stick him at stupid offensive line.
He's a lineman.
I'm going to talk to Coach Jensen if I ever get the shot. Be like, hey, I realize that you know what's best for your team because you know you've been doing this for 20 years.
You're good.
And you're really good at it. But just throwing this out there, why is your best athlete playing offensive line?
Can I make a suggestion?
Not
if you
saying
talk
that?
to Coach Jensen, say, hey, I know that you've been doing this a long time and you're really good at your job, and then stop. Don't say but and add anything else after that.
You know, I feel like Coach Jensen and I have a relationship.
Really?
At this point.
Okay.
And I feel like it can be like, hey, your best athlete is playing offensive line. I've never heard of that before.
Interesting.
And I know you brought up Peyton.
Ronnie Espinal.
I know you've... Oh, I'm sorry. Would you say Ronnie was the best athlete on that team?
No.
I didn't think so.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have said that.
Exactly.
He was a really good athlete, though.
He was a really good athlete.
Yeah.
If you say he was the best athlete...
Sorry, Nolan was on that team. Paul Gertz was on that team. I get it.
Yeah, okay.
I apologize. I shouldn't have said it.
So what do we do?
We have basically 3 choices, and in my mind, they're all dual Athlete of the Week awards. So if you go Annabelle Estrada from SPSCC Soccer,
Right.
who scored the hat trick,
Clippers.
you add Grace Coonrad, who in the same game was the goalie who recorded the shutout
Right.
from Elma.
Right.
If you go Hebron Garcia
Okay.
for the Grays Harbor Gulls,
Right.
you add Emmy Spencer,
Right.
who was the goalie from the girls' team.
Emmy wins everything.
Exactly.
We understand. We know Emmy.
If you go from the Jamboree, you got an offense, defense, Gabe Bodwell, Peyton Domashevitz. No relation.
Andrew, I know where my vote's going, but I think I need your backup on this one. Because Justin, no relation,
I'll recuse myself.
is kind of a butthole.
I'll recuse myself from voting.
After dark, I gave myself the ability to say butt hole.
Bro, that's PG.
I don't have the buzzer ready.
The athlete of the week, which shall remain unsponsored at this moment, but hopefully very soon we'll have a cool announcement to make. We are efforting it, as Andrew says. Andrew, would you like to make the announcement of who our athlete of the week is?
No, I would like to say that I'll vote for Daniel's vote.
Gosh dang it, Andrew Gross. For, what was it? It was 4 solo tackles? 2 tackles for loss?
Yeah, 1 sack.
1 sack, and what might have been a fumble recovery, but wasn't actually.
Pretty close. If an almost fumble recovery was a stat, it would be that.
If it was a professional
It is, and I apologize if we end up having to give him the athlete of the week like 12 times this football season, but Peyton Domashevitz is our athlete of the week for this week for his performance in the Jamboree. P-Town Funk is a stud, and I'm also throwing in the fact that he is by far the most athletic player via testing results on this Monty team. That's insane.
This award is incredibly more valuable because Daniel is giving it.
Yeah, to a Monty kid.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to like. I want to
I'm
clarify
also-
for anyone out there who thinks like Daniel's probably just giving the nod to. No, Daniel would love to snub Peyton to annoy Justin.
Yes,
but he's not.
I'm not. Also, I'm kind of frightened of Prime Daniel Hargrove racing Prime Peyton Domashevitz.
Whoa.
In a race.
That's about the biggest compliment you could give.
I'm really worried. I'm honestly worried about it. But yeah, that's our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week. Peyton Domashevitz, no relation. What's the A stand for except for his middle name's not A? Wait, is it A?
No.
What's the middle?
J.
Middle? J.
Justin?
Is it Justin?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Is it after me? Is it Peyton Justice Domashevitz?
Who knows?
Oh. Then forever he would be our athlete of the week. Anyway, that is our Only Pen Real Estate athlete of the week. We do have a couple other things to get to. We won't play another commercial because right now we don't have one, but hopefully we will soon. We've got our mailbag. Andrew, if you are ready to get to, we do have some comments from the mailbag that we have.
The mailbag.
Yes,
Send
the mailbag.
us your stuff. Send us your stuff in a mailbag.
That was seductive.
It was. After
No.
After dark. So, Daniel Langer, otherwise known as Coach Daniel, says, "Thanks, guys. Stats for defenders," which I didn't know, and I played soccer forever, and I'm sorry about this, said overall tackles, slide tackles, which are super fun in the rain, by the way, standing tackles, I don't know what that is, interceptions, that sounds great, blocks, passes, crosses, headers won, battles won, etc. Lol. He says lol because we don't know crap about soccer, even though I played way too much. I don't know any
Didn't
of
we
that.
figure out that you played soccer for more than half your life at one point? I think we did.
Yeah, at one point.
Learn the stats, Daniel.
It's not my fault my coaches didn't know what the stats names were.
Thanks a lot, Coach Dad.
All I know is that, no, he wasn't my dad, though. All I know is that one player who went on to play collegiately said, "I knew you were my Padawan," after I did something in a game. That's like my highest praise I ever received.
Is that a Star Trek thing?
Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Coach Daniel, for that. Getting into the mailbag early in the show, Francis said,
Well-known Yankees fan.
well-known Yankees fan said, "Are the Mariners finally going to make it to the World Series? Or is this going to hurt more than that 116-win season with no pennant?"
You can't hurt me, Francis.
Ouch.
It's not going to hurt more.
You can't hurt me, Francis.
It can't hurt more, right? Like,
No.
it can't hurt more. I mean, it can't hurt more, just like in 1995 when the Yankees blew the biggest lead of any team to ever blow a lead at that time. Blew a 2-0 lead over the Mariners in the divisional series. It can't be worse than that. And, oh, by the way, it can't be... You know who else? You know what other team blew the worst lead in a 7-game series? Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Oh! Well, I'll let you know. The Yankees had a 3-0 lead in a series. They're the only team ever to blow a 2-0 and a 3-0 lead in a series. But you know what? It won't hurt that much.
But Seattle has a very specific history.
But
of
also, Francis,
absolute heartbreak.
Francis, it will hurt a lot. I'm not gonna lie, that'll suck real bad.
And when
also, thank you so much for providing me with disc golf advice. My wife and I went out to play disc golf the other day, and I sent him a picture of the very limited amount of discs that we have. And Francis sent a bunch of numbers, and I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you for describing what those are." And then later was like, "Those are the numbers for this disc." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's a cool name for the disc." And then later I was like, "Oh, that's the disc that I have." So, I appreciate that.
Francis sucks. And I want to say I love that guy so much. Like, I love him more than most people in my life, and also that he should be very proud. His son Zeke is going into the National Guard, going into training in a couple of weeks.
I didn't even know he had a
big deal.
Zeke?
Yeah, his oldest son Zeke.
Good for you, Zeke.
Yeah,
we have family in the National Guard.
Yeah,
so he's got Zeke, Timmy, and Conlon.
Yeah. Francis has a lot to be proud of.
Also, screw Francis.
Also, screw Francis.
Belle is his niece.
Yeah.
So Annabelle Estrada,
yeah,
I assume is who he's mentioning, is his niece.
Yeah, actually, that nomination for Annabelle Estrada came from two people, because Francis mentioned it to me, and then also our friend Ian sent it to me.
Francis says, "I gave you that in the parking lot at work," so he was upset that you referenced Ian, but not him.
Well, I apologize, Francis. Sometimes you talk so much that when you talk, sometimes I tune you out. But also, I remembered that you said that. I just forgot to give you credit on purpose.
Andrew, do we have anything else from commenters? From everybody we have?
Scrimmage After Dark is fun.
It's bizarre, is what it is. It's also, what time is it?
Almost
it's
10.
2 hours. Nobody's going to listen to our show.
That's not true. Francis will listen.
Thank you so much for
He loves us, even though he sucks, and he's one of my favorite people.
Terrible.
You know, the fact that you mentioned that, I know he's going to dislike me for reading this, but I feel like he should dislike me for reading messages that I get from him. He says, let's see.
That sounds like him.
Yep.
Yeah, that does.
He says his nickname should be Francis can't say anything positive to anybody, and especially mean to the people he likes the most in the world.
He thinks he gets a nickname?
Higgins. Yeah.
Screw that.
That was, I got to say, that was weeks ago.
It's on the show. You only
Yep.
get a nickname if you're on the show.
Yep.
Sorry, Francis. I love you. Also, you suck.
So, my co-host, Justin, that's a demon. Also, you suck.
And for my co-host, Daniel, I could beat Adam Big Hill in a 40-yard dash, Hargrove.
I never said that.
It's real now.
I'm still scared of him. And our producer, Andrew, laughs off camera gross. You've been listening to this. Fed me again.
What is this?
I don't know, but it looks amazing.
I'm going to eat it because it looks fried.
It's so good.
Dip it in the sauce.
What is that?
I don't know. You ate it while it's obviously too hot to eat.
It's not hot.
It's not hot. This one feels really
Not
hot.
hot at all. What is it?
It's fried
delicious.
breaded zucchini.
Yum. Bye.